Did Bryan Kohberger have a man's mind drawing from Sigmund Freud? And were cops able to find the smoking gun, which would be the fixed blade knife, in Bryan Kohberger's parents' house? Let's go over all of these 100 plus items that were seized off of Bryan Kohberger's person, his parents' house, and his Hyundai Elantra. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, and we finally got an update of all the items that Bryan Kohberger had that might be related to the Idaho 4 case. Too bad whoever wrote this up wasn't able to just type it in a computer, because many of us sleuths have tried to figure out what the heck this writing says. But what's most important is number one, a knife. Some of these things are listed perhaps mislabeled. It is listed under the December 29th, 2022 search warrant, Hyundai Elantra inventory exhibit, but it sounds more like stuff that was pulled out of Bryan Kohberger's parents' home. The following property was taken, seized, and a copy of this receipt, inventory with a copy of the search warrant, and affidavit, if not sealed, which we know the affidavit was sealed at this point, was left at the residence. Number one, a knife. It is listed in the number one spot. I think it's for a reason. Even if we don't know if this is the actual knife, was it a fixed blade, was it a K-bar? You know, like someone wrote, it probably wasn't a butter knife that cops took from Bryan Kohberger's parents' home and listed it at the number one spot on this inventory list. If it is the smoking gun, if any of the victims' DNA or anything would have been found on this number one knife, and that's all we have is knife, we don't have anything else, it could be the key piece of evidence that sends Bryan up the river. Thank you to so many of you for commenting and helping me decipher this handwriting, I can't talk, mine is just as bad, on this list. Some people are saying, wait a minute, it couldn't be the knife, cops haven't found it yet. But from my research, we don't know yet.
Hey Chief, have you guys found the murder weapon or the Hyundai Elantra?
So we are still looking for all pieces of evidence, but we are still looking for the weapon. And I will say that we have found an Elantra.
Were there any weapons found in the home?
I don't want to get into what was actually seized in the house pursuant to the evidentiary nature of it.
The Moscow Police Department held a press conference December 30th when Bryan was arrested. When they were asked about the murder weapon, quote, "We are still looking for the weapon and we have found an Elantra." And then January 3rd, when the Pennsylvania Police Department held a presser, they were asked, were there any weapons seized in the house? The answer was they didn't want to get into it until further testing was done. Pretty soon after that, police were put under a gag order. So even though certain media articles are saying, no, they never found the weapon, I don't think we have that fact yet. I couldn't find it from any official authorities, so I'm still keeping judgment open. Number two, book with underlining on page 118. Don't we all want to know what this book is? And people are already guessing what it could be, but we don't know. Number three, AT&T bill for Bryan C. Kohberger. Very important. We need to know who he was calling, texting, his movements, everything. Number four, Glock 22 Generation 5 or S 40 caliber. They even have the serial numbers. Number 5, Smith & Wesson pocket knife. There's more than one knife on this list. Number 6, folder containing vehicle paperwork. Number 7, Acer laptop, model number whatever. There will be more than one laptop seized. I saw he wasn't like Team Apple. He didn't have any MacBooks, but Bryan's going to have external hard drives. He's going to have a password. He's going to have notes seized and everything. Number 8, green leafy substance in green container. Most people are thinking, you know, maybe Bryan was doing a little something, and some people already wonder, okay, did this make him react in a certain way? Maybe his defense attorney will start claiming he went psychotic off of the wacky weed. You know, I should put in a clip of Reefer Madness right about here. Number 9, documents. Number 10, green leafy substance in a plastic bag. Number 11, white paper with password. Number 12, power cable. 13, cell phone. Very important. If this was Kohberger's cell phone, very important. You know, I know people say, well, it's not accurate. It could ping off towers and triangulation and whatever. But if you follow the Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow case, that FBI CAST system can be so accurate It was so accurate they could tell when Alex, Lori's brother, when his phone was moving around Chad Daybell's backyard. It can be more accurate than people give it credit for. Number 14, 3 Glock 40 caliber magazines empty. People want to know, when did Bryan buy this weapon? Cops will list a record of when Bryan obtained the Glock, but we don't know that yet, and people are wondering if this was something he purchased right after the crimes. Was he planning on offing himself or what? Books, number 15. Number 16, black face mask. Was this the one that he wore, if it was indeed Bryan, when Dylan Mortensen saw him? Number 17, prescription. For what? We don't know. Number 18, black gloves. Number 19, 1 black hat, 1 black mask. You're going to see a lot of black clothing in this list. Number 20, personal identifying documents. Number 21, New Balance shoes. Sleuths have already determined that New Balance shoes can have a diamond-like pattern similar to the Vans style pattern. 22A, dark colored jacket. 22B, dark jackets. 22C, dark color jackets, shirts. This handwriting is horrible. 22D, dark colored jackets. Some of these forms can let you type in a PDF format. Why couldn't the person doing inventory just type it into this warrant and save it as a PDF that way? 23A, B, C, all dark colored shirts. 24, A and B, dark colored pants. 25, a clear plastic glove. 26, 1 Asus laptop with damage, just like 27, 1 HP laptop with damage. Isn't it interesting? Both of the laptops are damaged. I doubt that the cops caused this damage. You know, there could be a gold mine in those laptops. Was Bryan attempting to destroy evidence? Why are these laptops damaged? What is on them? Do cops have so much info in this list that Bryan knows his goose is cooked? Will we see a surprise guilty plea in the midst of this? I doubt it. I think Bryan's hubris and his arrogance is just too strong. I think he's going to take this to the bitter end, hoping for some kind of OJ outcome. 28, record of sale for the Glock 22 Generation S 40 caliber. 29, an item photographed but not taken. What could it be? 30, a note in desk. 31, criminal psychology book. I'm sure he had quite a few of those, and especially his sisters are psychologists too, but not necessarily criminal psychologists, so I'm assuming this is Bryan's. 32, documents and DeSales University notebook. 33, extra large Columbia Navy fleece. 34, a man's mind drawing, if that's what it says. At first I thought it said a man's world drawing, so I was thinking of the James Brown song, you know, this is a man's world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. So it is kind of a misogynistic song, but then it gives kudos to the ladies. But a man's mind drawing is more likely what Bryan had. This Freud drawing, which I don't even think I can show, but it's a man, and on his mind is like a nude lady, which would make sense if these other reports bear out. If Bryan was honing in on Maddie and he's, you know, staring at her and taking photos of her off of Instagram, yeah, that could be what was on his mind. This would give the incel theory even more credence. 35, ID cards inside glove, inside box. Some people were thinking, oh, do you mean the glove box, the glove compartment? But then other folks are like, no, it's ID cards inside glove, inside box. Did he have some type of identification inside gloves, hidden inside a box somewhere? 36, various criminology books, notes, license card. 37, dark color hats. 38, black gloves. 39, Seagate Barracuda 1 terabyte Samsung solid state drive. So yeah, especially if you deal with a lot of videos or photos or whatever, high quality 4K and stuff, you will need an external drive. I've got one in here, taped in there. I've got a Seagate drive, and they help. The more space, the better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terabytes, excellent. I wish this MacBook had that many terabytes. 40, Black box Samsung NVMe SSD 960 EVO 500 gig with Intel. So he had some items here. He had quite a few computers or laptops, a phone, external drives. So they have a lot of data on Bryan. 41, 2 pairs of black gloves, 1 black knit hat. 42, dark green short sleeve shirt, black long sleeve shirt, black sweatshirt, gray jacket, 2 pairs of black pants, 1 pair of black jeans, 2 pairs of black jeans. 43, 2 black long sleeve shirts, 2 pair of black pants, 1 gray jacket, 1 gray knit felt black hat, 1 black glove. Only 1 black glove? Some of these are reminiscent of OJ when you're talking about a black knit cap and all that. And we can't forget the famous, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Johnny Cochran was brilliant in that. Most people, they say, in America or the world or something, have something like 8th grade level of, reading and comprehension. So when he came up with that, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit, that's what people remembered. It was easy to remember. People don't always, unfortunately, stick with all the details and the minutia, and they want to hear a lot of evidence. Sometimes it's the simplest little lie, because OJ tried on that glove with a plastic glove under it, and of course it was dried and wet and smaller, and anyone can make it seem like, oh, it doesn't fit. Don't get me started. Let's hope Bryan Kohberger doesn't get the OJ Simpson treatment. 44, a motherboard. Did they find just a motherboard in and of itself lying around? Did he extract a motherboard from somewhere? I know gamers like to build their own PCs. Was Bryan a gamer? Was it a gaming PC, or did he extract the motherboard from a computer or tower for some reason? 45, Washington State University paperwork. 46, a note from Bryan from Montana. Did Bryan ever live in Montana? Who did he write this note to? Did he write a note to like his mom or something and mail it? Was it like a postcard? Did he stop in Montana on the way? En route, based on which way Bryan drove, if he indeed drove from his parents' Lambston Drive house in Effort, Pennsylvania back in June 2022, when he left for the Steptoe Village Apartments out in Washington, a 38-hour drive, there is a route that takes you through Montana. So, was it just like a little postcard? Maybe a note like, "Miss you, Mom, we made it to Montana thus far, here's a postcard." What kind of note? 47, a Craftsman shop vac. So that's important. We know Bryan allegedly was cleaning out that Hyundai Elantra. So if he's cleaning, if he's trying to get rid of any evidence or blood or fibers or Murphy's dog hair, or who knows, human hair, whatever. If any of it made it into a shop vac, this one, that could be another smoking gun. 48, medical documents. 49, court documents. 50, note to dad from Bryan. That part was really reminding me of Brian Laundrie. Like, when Brian Laundrie knew he did something bad, he went home, there were letters exchanged at some point, his mom is getting in trouble for the stuff she allegedly wrote in a note to her son, Brian Laundrie, claiming she would, if you go to prison or whatever, I'll bake a cake with a file in it, or I'll bring a shovel. Speaking of shovels, we're going to see a shovel here. I'll help you by giving you a shovel or helping you bury even your victim. I don't know all this stuff, what's going to happen there. But Brian Laundrie did write a note before he took his own life. And so part of me wonders if this note to dad from Bryan is so significant, even if it's not a confession, which I hope it really is. I hope cops have everything they need, if Bryan's guilty, to put him away forever, or God willing, put him in front of a firing squad or wherever he is meant to be. I know God doesn't want anyone to perish, but he is also a just God, so we will see where this case goes. But I wonder about this note. Was it something that Bryan had written, like, kind of obscure, but like if he knew he was going to be caught, perhaps he wanted to leave a note for his dad, Michael, like, "Thanks for everything you've done for me, Dad. I'll always love you." Is that the type of note? Again, time will tell. We'll see what ends up in court. 51, maroon colored spiral notebook. 52, more dark colored clothing. I know, I like dark clothes too. 53, HB 100B all-in-one computer. 54, a Lenovo Idea Pad laptop. 55, I had a hard time trying to figure out. Tangent model Medallion 5.55B desktop. I couldn't find any info on that. 56, dark clothes and laundry basket. So cops were being thorough. They were just getting everything. 57, Taylor cutlery knife with leather sheath. So we know Bryan, had that fish cutting job years ago, but what part of this belonged to him? What belonged to his parents? And for people who say, no idiot would bring the actual weapon from the scene of the crime, with him. Maybe he did dispose of it if he's the one who did it, but I could definitely see him taking it with him, especially for people who, there's that syndrome or condition where people might use the knife as a phallic extension of themselves. If that's what was going on in Bryan's mind, and if he committed these horrible crimes, that was the knife that did it, it could be like a trophy to him. He may have even taken other trophies. If he didn't dispose of it, it very well could have been somewhere in his parents' home. 58 through 61 are swabs S1 through S4, and I'm assuming that's when cops took Bryan's DNA because they said they, swab, and swab, so one, each cheek. It gets confusing because some people think, the way it's written, some people think Bryan actually had these swabs himself. You never know. I had swabs in my home right over here because I just took a DNA test the first time I ever did, so who knows who the swabs belong to or how cops are trying to express themselves here. So stranger things have happened. 62, 2 pair of dark colored boots. 63, 1 pair of brown boots. That's where they stopped counting on that list. I'm continuing the count of items listed under the December 29, 2022 search warrant B Kohberger inventory exhibits, which sounds more like stuff that was in his car. So again, they kind of, I think, flipped the titles here. But anyway, 64, swabs. Maybe he did have swabs lying around, I don't know. 65, zip lock bag with pink zipper. 66, 7 quarters. 67, plastic baggie with green zipper. 68, 36 dimes. 69, 32 nickels. 70, 8 pennies. 71, gloves. 72, receipts. 73, car insurance card. 74, car registration. 75, hiking boots. 76, comfort inn, room key holder, and stay information. We don't know if he spent a night in a comfort inn somewhere, maybe when him and his dad were traveling across country. I don't know if his dad went out with him to Washington when he first moved, or if Bryan drove alone. And such a long drive, did he spend a night in a comfort inn? Or when him and his dad were preparing to leave. I believe Bryan and his dad told the cops in Indiana they had been driving nonstop, so I don't know if they took any stops there. 77, tire irons. 78, shovel. Now that was interesting, of course. Even though, of course, all the victims were recovered, would Bryan have used a shovel? And we don't know if it's a small little shovel, if it's more like a winter snow shovel. What kind of shovel? We don't know. Did he just have this in his car? Did he use it for camping? Did he use it to bury a weapon? Or for nothing at all? I live near Pennsylvania, so there have been times where, you could see a snow shovel in my car, in the trunk perhaps, not always, but it can happen. It is kind of smart to carry one around because sometimes you don't know if you'll get stuck in snow and need to shovel out from around your car. Who knows? 79, goggles. What are these goggles? Are they like the cool little goggles you have when you're off swimming? Or are these some huge goggles to protect his face from substances? Were these goggles like you wear in a laboratory? Or could they have been some special type of goggles to help him if Bryan still suffered from that visual snow syndrome after all these years? Who knows? All we have is goggles. 80 is floor mats. 81, reflective vest. 82, used water bottles. 83, wrench. 84, a door panel. That's good, taking the door panels out of there. So smart. Get everything. 85, seats and seat cushions. 86, they got the headrests out of the car. 87, the seat belt. 88, the visor. 89, fiber. 90, the brake pedal. 91, the gas pedal. 92, the phone charger. 93, Band-Aid. So, did Bryan have any nicks or cuts? Or did he normally just keep Band-Aids in the car? 94, wrappers. What kind of wrappers? Like tops? Like rolling wrappers? 95, maps. Makes sense. I guess you don't want to always just rely on Google Maps or your navigation, especially out west and in obscure places. You might lose service. You might be God knows where, and you really want maybe a physical map like in the old days. 96, documents. 97, seatbelt boot, which I guess is I've looked it up and I still don't know what it is. And then finally, the December 29th, 2022 search warrant, home, and authorization included 9 more items, and they were enumerated. With these 9 more items, that takes us to more than 100 items seized from Bryan Kohberger's person, his parents' home, and the Elantra. Like we talked about in a previous video, number 1 was the 1 Defiant silver flashlight. Number 2 was 4 medical style gloves. Number 3 was the white Arizona Jean Company large t-shirt. Number 4 was the Champion WSU large black sweatshirt. Number 5 was a pair of black and white size 13 Nike shoes. It's interesting, all these other shoes we didn't get a size for. They told us about the size 13 Nikes. Number 6, a pair of black Under Armour socks. Number 7, Under Armour black large shorts. Number 8, Under Armour black large boxers. And number 9, 1 buckle swab. Some people are like, oh, you guys are idiots for thinking that Bryan had a buckle swab. Other people are like, oh, that was obviously his. Maybe he wanted to be like a doctor. I don't know. People have so many opinions. People are all over the place. What do you think about all this stuff that was seized? We don't have all the details. We don't know for sure what items, what DNA, everything that cops were able to gather from these items, but I really hope and pray it's a lot. Hebrews 9:28. So Christ was sacrificed once to take away the sins of many, and he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him. Stay tuned. I'm really trying to figure out what happened with Bryan and his family on Christmas Eve and where they went to dinner and an alleged traffic stop. I'm contacting counties in Pennsylvania, and they said they'll forward it to the DA's office, so just attempting to get actual verifiable proof, even trying to get the 911 call Bryan made many years ago from the trailhead of a park where he got locked in. So much to try and get and gather out there. Thanks for watching all this. Let me know what you think about this whole list and what it means and what it says, and especially a man's mind. If Bryan really did draw Freud and what's on a man's mind, let me know what you think about that. Thanks for watching always.